We are live. Welcome to a special Friday edition of the CK Podcasts. Today, we got the guy that we sent over to the other side. I'm not gonna name no names. To the tanking side. I'm just kidding, man. What's up, E man? How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I have never switched sides. I
Hey, you are the leader, man, of this cult, bro. Because I don't even like go into that deep no more. You're like, no, I'm going off the heads. I got receipts here. I got receipts there, bro. It's been hilarious to see how you interact on Twitter, man. The most toxic platform in the world.
It's fun. It's fun. It's all fun and games, man.
Is it all fun and games, or is it like, nah, I ain't trying to lose, bruh?
Well, that's my mindset. And then I asked the opposing people when do they expect the Kings to win and
Right.
have the mindset that I have, and they said next year. And I said, how are you gonna do that if you trade away Buddy or Barnes?
And what they say?
They have no answer. Cade is just supposed to come in and be Luca.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Cade's nice. I just like Cade's really nice.
It's not
And
guaranteed though.
huh?
It's not guaranteed. Even if you tank, completely be the worst
Right,
record.
right. It's
You're
not.
still not
It's not
guaranteed to take
guaranteed.
them.
Like to me,
And is
it's
it?
Cade. It's Cade and everybody else. So if you do tank, like you said, and you invest all this losing, and you go through a second half of the season of just awful basketball, and you don't get Cade, what a way to waste so much time, right? I think that's where you're trying to, or that's what you're alluding to, right?
Yeah. Well, number one is like you talked about since the beginning of the season. It's just building winning habits,
Right.
right? You want this team to come in. Hey, I'm here to do business. We're here to beat the bad Warriors. When they come in, losing three starters, guess what's supposed to happen? We're supposed to dominate these guys and just destroy them like they did. And when I saw after the game, they shake hands. I saw, Buddy just dab it up in the next game. Nothing to
That's it.
celebrate. We're still below 500. We got this job done. We got another one on Saturday. I like that mentality, like professional guys.
Professional guys that are looking to win. Professional guys that are now somewhat excited to see that their bench, that the reinforcements are coming. And I know a lot of the tankers are like, well, they didn't get that much better. How many more wins can you actually get? And I'm thinking to myself, damn, did y'all think Corey Joseph was that good? And no, and seriously, like he's a great. Again, we love Corey. Like Corey was always professional to us. He was always nice to us, cordial to everybody. Everybody in the community liked him as a human being. But on the court, this is strictly business. We're not talking about the person Corey Joseph. We're talking about the actual the basketball player, man. And we just feel like Father Time never fails, and he lost a step. And he lost a step in his last year with Indiana, which is a huge reason why they let him go and they replaced him with who? With TJ McConnell, who was a
Yep.
little pesky stud. And they were like, nah, like, we just gonna replace you with the younger version of yourself, pretty much. And that's what they did. The Kings fell for it. Vladi fell for it. Shout out to his agent who
hmm
got him a lot of money. But hey, man, he did a lot of great community stuff here in Sacramento, and we applaud that and we thank him for that. But on the court, he was a big minus, man. And I got some stats, and just to give you some perspective, with him, Corey Joseph, Harrison Barnes, Richaun Holmes, Buddy Hield, De'Aaron Fox, they had an offensive rating of 98.6 and a defensive rating of 117. They were at a minus 18.4. That is insane. Just saying that out loud, and for a guy who had the reputation, right, man, of being like a Sherman of the Niners, but he was really bad defensively, and those numbers right there tell you a lot.
Yeah, and it was confirmed with the eyeball test too. I mean, just
That
watching him getting beat night in, night out.
and then when and before we get into the reinforcements, and we address that, just looking at the lineups. Harrison Barnes, Rashawn Holmes, Buddy Hield, De'Aaron Fox, Marvin Bagley, which was your starting five. They had 121.4 offensive rating and 114.2 defensive rating, which was a positive 7.2. And y'all may be thinking, well, what's the problem, Leo? What's the problem, man? There is no problem. The fact is, when they go to the bench, that's where the problem begins because there is no depth. We never complained about Marvin Bagley being along with these other good players. Like the starting five is solid, and we understand that the rookie Harris Halliburton is also solid, but it takes more than one player, and there's a huge drop off when you go to your bench. Now, when you go Tyrese into a starting lineup over Marvin Bagley, they're at a plus 14.3, so they doubled that. And obviously, that's a different discussion of who's a better player. Obviously, we know what Halliburton is. But what both of these confirm is what? That this team lacks depth. And what did the Kings address at the deadline, E-Man?
Building that bench, reinforcements.
Exactly, and they went after DeLon Wright, who is a baller. Both Eman and I have been talking about this guy, and Mason Plumlee from the Pistons for I don't know months. We talked about those two guys. They got one of them. I think he's a really solid player, and he's gonna just come in here and be that combo guard who can play the point and the shooting guard. And we're gonna see DeLon Wright, Halliburton, and De'Aaron Fox because we saw it at Corey Joseph, Halliburton, and De'Aaron Fox. So now what I talked about on yesterday's podcast with Ty and with Javi was what? Creating that winning culture, but creating that competition. Now, Buddy and Fox and Hallie, they're like, damn, like we got Terrence Davis and DeLon Wright, who are both hoopers. We got to step up our games and just stay sharp because if we don't, this guy will come in here and steal my spot. Everybody's not working for their spots and working for the jobs. Like, that's the type of environment that you should have started from the very beginning of the season, man. And competition is always good because competition brings out the best out of you.
I love that. And Corey Joseph, he got way too much playing time. Like I
Yeah.
get him being a vet in the locker room and mentoring Fox and telling him these tips and tricks. Why can't you do that in practice, you know? But the fact that coach just kept playing him so many minutes is why I got frustrated watching him so much. When I knew Tyrese and I even just give Kyle Guy a shot, but ultimately he needed to go, and that was, I mean, if you could get rid of him, that was a win for me. That was a automatic B.
For
Doesn't
sure.
matter what you do the rest of the trade deadline. If you got rid of Corey Joseph and took him out of Luke's hands, automatic B.
For sure. And a guy that was getting paid 12, 13 million per season, it just comes to show that now you're going to have DeLon Wright 9 this year and then 8.5 next season to get a quality backup, starter-ish level type guy at 8.5, 8.6. You're not getting that in free agency. Because look what they paid for Kojo, who was way past his time. So that again is why we're so excited about this move. Getting a guy who can come and play basketball at a high level to solidify that bench for you. And then if you ever do have injuries, which they happen all the time, we can have faith that he can come in and at least sustain some of that success that the starters are having. But then that brings up the big question, which is kind of like the question and the topic of the show. The Kings, in a sense, jeopardized their ability to offer Richaun Holmes the most money they can by adding more salary. So they ended up adding $6 million more roughly with DeLon over Corey, because Corey actually they could have bought him out at $2 million. So it was a $2 million cap hold. And I've been trying to really understand the cap the salary cap the past 24 hours, man, so I can relay this information and project it in a way where people can understand it. Shit, so that I can understand it, right? In a better way, trying to talk about it. But so they added about roughly $6 million. So now the Kings, as of today, if they walk into next season with Buddy, with Harrison, which again is a high probability, they can only offer him about 4 years, 47 million, which is about 11.75 per season. And being close to the Richaun Holmes camp, that's just not going to get it done, E-Man. And it's unfortunate, but I guess before I get to my next point, do you think it's worth it bolstering your bench while in the back of your mind floating that there is a possibility that Richaun's going to walk because anybody can offer him 4 years, 50 million, right, or 4 years, 52, and give him the extra $2-3 million per year?
Well, he's earned it,
For
and
sure. But does
it's
that worry
he's.
you? Like, are you okay with taking this huge risk of going all in essentially
Mhm.
for a playing spot and being like, okay, well, Richaun, this is what we did. This is what we're trying to build. Are you down? Like, are you okay with that? Or is this on Monte and you're like, man, like he should have been better about things. Like he should have created more flexibility to be able to sign him.
But but like you said, if you were going to trade away one of the contracts, you got to take some back, to fill that, the money, make the money work. And
So are you okay with them essentially bolstering their bench and in a sense jeopardizing them not bringing Richaun Holmes back?
yeah, I am.
Okay.
No, I am, because you look at what you can do with that first round pick, and you might have the regular, the MLE,
Mm-hmm.
the
The
regular
mid-level
one.
exception.
Yeah, exactly. You got, I'm not saying it's a standard, but you got Hassan Whiteside for a minimum contract, right?
Right.
And to me, I just don't. I value Holmes a lot, but just generally around the league, I don't think there's like a huge demand for bigs. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I need to get this big, and I need to pay him, X amount every year. Now Holmes, because we watch him obsessively so much, I think he's earned it, and he will really be valuable for teams especially in the playoffs when they got to keep switching and they got to. So
It's
it's
tough.
it's risky, but maybe
Yeah.
Monte knows a number that maybe he gets asked around how much other teams are willing to pay,
It's a good point.
but
And maybe he's talking actively to Rashawn's camp and being like, okay, well, what's the number? Like there are CBA rules where
Mhm.
you can't cross, you can't offer someone the money that you don't have. But one possibility that I was trying to come up with was, and there's a lot of Bagley lovers on the show and just across Kingsland, you might have to get, and then not you might, you're going to have to get rid of Marvin Bagley for a future pick, not a 2021 draft pick, but get rid of him so that you can open up that $9 to $10 million to potentially sign Richaun and get to the number that Richaun is comfortable with,
Yeah.
which I feel like there will be a team that will offer him 15, man. We've been locked on that number for months before anyone else was, honestly, on Twitter or anywhere else, anyone in the media. We've been throwing the number around for a long time because we kind of knew that that's the number that it's going to take to sign a guy like Holmes, especially in this market. He's not in LA. People want to use the whole mantras, Harold, like, oh, well, he took 10. I'm like, yeah, but he had a deal in Charlotte that would have paid him 16 to 18 million. And he's like, nah, I'm going to go win a championship with LeBron James, etc. So he took that type of discount. Richaun Holmes owes nothing to Sacramento. Like he should not take a hometown discount. This is a business. In the business that, in a sense, a lot of these owners treat these guys like properties, man. And I hate to say it like that, but they don't feel bad when they just sit them out, not caring about how they feel, and trade them at any point. Like there is no loyalty here, man. So if I'm Richaun Holmes, I gotta look out for myself and my family and try to get the most money possible. Period. So we're thinking it's 15. So say you trade hypothetically, there's somebody that believes in Bagley on the NBA draft, which is right, maybe
Or
like a
has
week.
or has 37 picks and doesn't mind using up one.
That, but then we have to look into like who has money, who can absorb something like that without sending out contracts back. And in essence, the Kings can't receive any contracts back. It'll be just a salary dump. And then that could get you closer to like the 13 to 14. Then I'm looking at the books and I'm like, okay, well, 13 to 14, Justin James is at 1.782. I'm gonna have to buy him out and just cut that loose, and then try to get as close as to 15 as possible. And that's one way to get to
That's
15 million.
respect. You love that
and,
guy.
and I'm like nerding over this. I'm like, yeah, well, how can I get to like this number that I can offer Richaun Holmes?
Best I can do.
This is the best I can do, bro. No, but so that's one avenue. Both you and I discussed off air what it would take to get rid of a guy like Buddy Hield, who will get paid about 23 million next year, and then 21 the following year, and then 19 the following year. So his contract lowers just like Harrison Barnes does. It was front loaded, so his contract becomes better and better with time. But you said something interesting, right? Which you said the Magic could have that TPE, and if they do get Cade, you wouldn't mind seeing Cade, Markel, and Buddy? And would that be something that the Magic could just absorb and then obviously give the Kings that room to operate, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you? I mean, it's not a bad idea.
With the Magic potentially having that TPE. Yeah, I mean the Magic obviously they cleared up everybody to try and tank and fade for Cade, which is the saying right now. But if they do get that, I just feel like a lot of the negative Nancy's out there who are pro tank, they're looking at this from a numbers perspective, and yes, the odds are against the Kings when it comes to actually all these hypothetical, like everything we're saying, it's all hypothetical. So we fully understand that, and there's a lot of ifs with all this, but it's not like it's a closed thing. And what you said earlier, the center market isn't great, and they, as of right now, again, as I said earlier, they can offer him 11.75, which is the most. For the most part, that's not terrible, but obviously he's going to look for something more than that, right? But
Yeah.
as
It's
you
terrible
said,
for him.
yeah, I mean, terrible for him, but that's the most that the Kings would be able to offer him if they just stay put, and that's including whoever the first round pick's going to be, and I think they'll be walking into this summer with 108 million dollars, with only like 4 million left, which again, because of the pandemic, the salary cap may go down a little bit. We're for sure going to have a capologist on the show very, very soon to just break it down and just have the exact numbers, but just giving you a rough estimate. That's roughly what it would take or what the Kings would be able to offer Richaun Holmes, man. So, man, are
It's
you are
mhm.
you high on Bagley in the sense where you don't care, like you're just going to cut your losses and just try and sign Richaun Holmes at any rate possible?
You have to. You mean you gotta throw what you can. Say this is the best I can do, and then give them give them the scenarios that you just said. What if I cut X, A, and B, trade C? Would you accept this amount of money
Yeah.
before you go and pull all those triggers for nothing and him say, "Psych, I'm out." You see what I'm saying? So it's all hypothetical. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I do know that they're a better team today than they were yesterday. So
So from the guys that they got, Mo Harkless, Terrence Davis, Chris Silva, who, I mean, Chris Silva, I was talking to Rafa Dor, man, from the Heat, one of the coaches from the coaching staff. He loves Silva. He said the entire coaching staff loves him. That there will be nobody that will play as hard as him. Nobody. And I'm like, damn, like if he's coming here with that type of like that dog mentality, that toughness, sounds like Richaun Holmes to me. And I can't wait to watch those two. Not watch them because we can't, but like the way they'll practice, going hard at each other, and obviously rooting for each other during games. That's the type of environment that you want to build, right?
hmm
What are you excited, or which player from the guys that they got are you most excited about?
Dillon
Yeah.
Dillon Wright.
Okay.
I mean, he's just an overall good player. Just does what needs to be done, and just seeing the combinations that Luke's going to be throwing out there. Like at the end of the first quarter, the mid of the second quarter, it's not the same lineup. They start mixing and matching players, putting three guards out there, putting two guards, and more bigs out there who are athletic, like a Chris Silva and Richaun Holmes together at the same time. So it's gonna be exciting. I mean, you got like Metu out of nowhere just had like some really bright spots. I know it was against the Warriors, but it just looked like whoa, like
The game before
He,
he had bright spots though.
yeah, he looked nice. I'm just like, where was this? You know, so just it's exciting. You got athletes, man. The Kings are getting loaded with your most unathletic person is going to be Whiteside, and he's and he's at least he's like a monster on the floor who's gonna, you already know how to use him. You just
So
play zone.
so so that's what you mentioned to me off air, right? Which was Monte taking a specific direction.
Yeah, I feel like he's wrapping this team around with athletes just left and right everywhere. You can see like this was something that I want to talk to you about with the starting lineup with Buddy and Bagley starting at the same time. It's hard to hide two bad defenders.
Yeah.
But if you swapped out Buddy, made him a six man, and put Tyrese, you can hide Bagley. Or if you take away Bagley, put in, either Harrison Barnes and then put Tyrese, like the current lineup, you can hide those. You can hide those defensive flaws. And
Numbers
then
don't lie, bro. Literally, like they're at that's half of the defensive flaw with home with Buddy and Bagley, and you cut one off and you cut that in half. Literally, like so it went from giving up 114 now giving up 107. Like it's hard to hide two guys.
it's really hard to hide two guys. And for a while, I think this is why the Dallas Mavericks early on they were struggling because you were trying to hide Luka and KP, and you had smaller guards around him, and it just didn't work out. So they had to, make some switches. But with the Kings, this is exactly what happened. This is exactly what happened. Bagley got hurt. Now you can hide Buddy's defensive flaws, match him up. And the thing good about Buddy is he's the loudest person on the floor. Do you hear him every
Yeah.
game?
You
Watch
do.
your back, watch your back, watch your. I'm like, dude, Buddy.
You don't know what he's saying, but he's saying something.
The cameras can hear him. You know what I mean? The cameras are picking him up from way up top of the arena. It's incredible how, and that's good though. Like, yes, he's a bad defender, but at the same time, he's communicating and he's talking, he's
Yeah.
encouraging. So it's kind of like best of both worlds. I mean, it's pick your poison. You want Bagley, you want Buddy. Um, Obviously, everyone knows where I'm going to stand. I'm going to say Buddy just because he's my guy, and at the same time, he's a shooter, and he's going to
An
spread out the
elite
floor for
shooter.
De'Aaron Fox. You know
An
what I mean?
elite shooter. He's not just a shooter, he's an elite shooter. And he's
Exactly.
been killing it the past 12 games. Right? He's averaging close to 20 a game. He's averaging well above 40% on high volume, so about 11 threes a game. This dude's playing well as of late, man. So you can't knock him for that. And the only thing you can knock is his contract, which again, it's relatively high for the market as a whole. But those are the prices that you have to pay when you are the Sacramento Kings, or just in general when you're a small market team.
Yeah.
When you look at a guy like Joe Harris, who took about $18 million, he took $18 million with KD and Kyrie already on the roster. So he couldn't take more, but he would have had the exact same contract or even a little bit more in Sacramento. So when people want to just shit on this contract and be like, oh, what's it? Bro, it's Sacramento. Like that that's it. That's it, man. You were also mentioning, and even Ty and Javi were really good yesterday, bringing up some really good stats about how good they were. Tyrese and Fox
Mm-hmm.
together. So the last 3 games have averaged 59 points, while Lillard and McCollum have averaged 42.3 points. So that tandem, that backcourt is just balling, man. And then the other stat was De'Aaron Fox, since Tyrese Halliburton entered into the starting lineup for Marvin Bagley, 6 games. They're 5-1. He's averaged 30.7, which leads the NBA, 5.7 assists and 2.8 rebounds. Coincidence?
It's just all about those matchups, man. Matchups,
But
and your ability to hide bad defenders.
talk about that chemistry that you're seeing from Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, just the fact that they just feel like they're pretty similar personalities, and they're able to communicate without talking. And I don't know. I think I was watching the Warriors broadcast or the Kings broadcast. I don't know. The Kings have been having back-to-backs. I don't know which one it was, but somebody was talking about how they have been able to communicate without even talking. They just know, like, just give them the eye, give them a nod, give them twitch of the neck, and Fox knows, Tyrese knows, okay, this is the play. This is what we're supposed to be doing right now. And that's incredible. When you're on that level this early in your career, and this is going to be your dynamic duo for the future. It's fun. It's exciting to see. Hey, we got something cooking in Sacramento.
And then that goes back to us being very strong and staying put on Team No Tank, because you're trying to build these winning habits now. And when you have a guy like De'Aaron Fox, again, we sound like broken records, but when you have a guy like De'Aaron Fox, you have to do everything possible to surround him with the best talent possible, with the best talent available. The worst thing you can do for a guy who's been in the league 4 years now is to take away guys like Harrison Barnes, like Buddy Hield, like Richaun Holmes, because you're just dismantling this team. And then you're telling them, you know what? Say we do get a top 5 pick, you may have another Bagley in your hands, and then he's gonna have to wait 2-3 years for him to develop, and then you're like, bro, I'm in year 6, year 7, I still haven't made the playoffs. Please trade me. So those are all the things that you run into that a lot of the tankers don't take into account, but then they'll swear by the draft and say, well, this draft has 5 franchise changers, and I'm like, bro,
Generational talent.
we've heard this for the past
It's a
decade.
marketing scheme. It's an advertising scheme to get you to watch the draft. Every year there's going to be someone. Every year there's 11 players better than Tyrese Halliburton until they step on the floor and see there's not 11 players better than Tyrese. It's probably like one.
Amen. I would say maybe 2, because Anthony Edwards is flat out balling now. He's
Yeah.
really awakened himself. But again, like still like 2-3 players for a guy that was the number 12 pick. And albeit that was because of the silly GMs that passed up on him, but still, in every single year, there is at least one player from 10 to 30 that becomes an all-star. Literally.
And then
Like,
New York got themselves a quickly, and he's a stud over there. And
solid.
where's all the money?
But
All the money that all these teams have, all the people who know basketball and who see the numbers, see the data, watch these kids from high school, from middle school, and say this is going to be the guy. What happens? All that time invested, and at the end of the day, if the situation doesn't seem to fit, it's not going to work out. And you just blew an opportunity with guys you currently have and guys you went, trying to go get.
it's funny because their main rookie was the number 8 pick.
Top end.
And
I liked him too. And
Obi, yeah.
I liked him before he was drafted. I said I love the way he screens. He does those hits with the hands and gets away with it.
Yeah.
He's smart. I love seeing that, but I'm not impressed with him.
Quickly
in
has
the
been
league.
very quick to the jump when it comes
Yeah.
to being the top rookie on that team.
I'll be one of the many people who just don't know. It's situational, and you just got to do what's best for the players you have now before you lose them. Same goes. I talk about it with my friend about the Warriors. Like, you're never gonna have a Steph Curry like this again. Never, ever, ever in your
No,
life. Like, he's
ever.
incredible. And you guys do not trade that mini pick for something valuable to contend this year. Is ridiculous to me.
Like, they had a chance to get Vucevic, and they're like, nah. I'm like, bro, you give Vooch, Klay Thompson, Draymond, and Steph, that's a championship contender.
And
Like,
then we watched Wiseman yesterday. He's so raw. Like, it's so sad. Like, oh wow. Like, you gotta wait. He's gonna be good. Yeah, I get it. He's a big guy who has agility. He's gonna be good. But
Ty
Steph's
said it
time
best
is
yesterday.
clicking, man.
What did Ty said? His body language is just bad, man.
Yeah.
His body language is bad.
It's just, man. Like, but and when I do talk to him, a lot of Warriors fans complain that GM is just, you got the early ones right, but ever since that, not been
Facts.
impressive.
Facts. So shout out to Nick Navarro in the super chat. He just gave us $4.99. We appreciate it. He said, great work, CK. Excited to watch a scrappy group in Sacramento. Do you think this will be the most physical group in a while? Man, Nick loves E-Man. Anytime E-Man comes on where he's like, man, we giving out some money. Hey,
Hey.
man, go ahead and answer that question. Do you think, E-Man, that this will be the most physical group we've had in a while?
I think so. We got rid of the last Serbian and Zach. and and
Hey,
you,
we by the way, we love Belly. Like
yeah,
legit. Like
yeah,
I text him. I text him yesterday and he was like, man, like let me see what he said. Let me see what he said. Uh
good
he
dude,
said
man.
he just said thank you for everything, man. Like it's just a good family man, good guy, hell of a shooter.
Yeah,
He's gonna help that team because that's the right culture to go to for his type of skill set.
yeah. Imagine him like the Heat bringing out the best version of Belly. It's gonna be incredible.
Yeah,
He's
well,
gonna be such an asset to that team if they can put it together. You know, like
right.
if get Oladipo on the right page and then just plug in Belita with Bam. Oh man, that's gonna be a nice team.
So right now we have the Monty McNair uh, press conference, which he'll be addressing the media. I'm gonna put it on silent just so I can join because I don't want to say think. But yeah, man, it's gonna
Just
be fun to see because they got Victor Oladipo for pretty much nothing, right? And
yeah, yeah.
now that team is it's gonna be good, bro. Do you see that team being a top 4 team now in the East?
They got work to do, man. If any coach can do it, and if any player can bring them together, they got it. Miami, man. There's just something different about Miami. They'll make it
Facts.
work. They'll get any player, bring out the best of them. Um,
No
and
doubt.
but Lita has his boy there too, so
Oh, they got
that
Dragic there.
yeah,
So he's gonna be happy. Just living in Miami, he's gonna be happy, bro. But I feel like Belly is a low key guy like us, where you just want to be more of like a low key area, not too much lights. But
yeah,
he's going there on a business trip. Let's just call it that. And
yeah.
he's gonna try and win the NBA championship because, hey man, you gotta
I'll,
strive
I'll
for
be
the
rooting
best.
for them, man. I'll be rooting for Belly in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
yeah, man. Like big facts. So we've covered uh, the potential of potentially losing Richaun Holmes, which would be unfortunate, but Monty has to be smart enough, and we both think that there's something, maybe in an understanding, right, where they can agree to something. So we're being very optimistic, but we're hoping that that's the case by going
Yeah,
essentially all in to bolster your bench to going for the playing game. But
yeah.
yeah, man, I think we've covered a lot of base, man. It was fun to get you back on. Hopefully, everybody can like this or dislike this. Hit the like button or dislike. We really appreciate it. I got to get on this call with Monty McNair, man. But we appreciate everybody. Shout out to Valley Tire Center. My tire got messed up. Went yesterday. They replaced it, and their customer service is just A1. So shout out to Valley Tire Center as always for being a loyal supporter of the Cowboy Kingdom platform. E-Man, any final words?
Just go interrogate Monty, bro. Go see what he's gonna do about Holmes.
All right, y'all. So on behalf of the entire CK family, on behalf of E-Man, Javi, Ty, Corey, everybody, man, we thank you guys, and we'll see you guys on the next one.